For the first time ever, global temperatures are now more likely than not to breach 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit within the next 5 years. The warning came as another international team of scientists said record-breaking heat waves that hit large parts of South and Southeast Asia in April were made 30 times more likely by human-induced climate change. The region saw Bangladesh at its hottest in 50 years, and Thailand and Laos also hit by temperatures that caused widespread infrastructure damage, power shortages, and a spike in heat stroke. The scientists for the World Weather Attribution Group said humid heat waves that used to happen once a century in Bangladesh and India now tend to occur every 5 years, while the heat in Thailand and Laos would have been virtually impossible without climate change.
Hey Doomers in the predicament with me. World Climate Update, February 17th. Welcome back. And for all of you who contributed on PayPal in the past month, you know who you are. I appreciate you so much. You help me keep this content funded, and for us realists as a community to have somewhere to go to bear witness, because somebody has to be paying attention, right? Also, for the past 15 videos, we failed to reach 50 upvotes despite having close to 200 views, which is unacceptable. So as a reminder, if you're using the YouTube app, I will get up and walk over to the camera if you want me to. Right below the video is a little thumb up icon. Go ahead and click that. Give you a second. And then if you're using on a computer or desktop, same thing. You click just below the video, the little thumb up icon. On a TV, you know what to do. Give you a second. Okay. Oops. Scientists may have miscalculated our global warming timeline. To reiterate, clues have emerged that reveal a much hotter history than we thought. You know, the Paris Climate Accord, that thing we just broke past 1.5. Well, study from Western Australia Oceans Institute studied long-lived Caribbean sclerosponges to create an ocean temperature timeline dating back to the 1700s and claimed that we surpassed 1.5 in 2020. It's real. Let's move on. Just had to say that again for the record. As the Keeling curve hits an all-time high, the long-running record of carbon in the atmosphere maintained by the Scripps Institution of Oceanography at UC San Diego hit an all-time high this weekend at 426 parts per million, likely as a result of different wind, I guess a change in strong wind shift, but it's like hitting the fast forward button. He hasn't recorded many one-day jumps of that size. Are we heading towards a 2026, 27 catastrophic breakdown of Earth climate systems and then extinction a few years later? More on that in a moment. I think we're getting there. But let's look at the outlook. You know, need I say more that plants decompose and release CO2 at a certain time of the year. Okay, spring outlook, much warmer for most of the U.S.
Meat sauce.
From the Weather Channel from March to May. Some relevant information here to all of us in the States. Thankfully, not a dreadful winter or spring going into middle of this year. Likely the El Nino fading and maybe even a little cooler for the southern states. Okay, just take another look at that. But temperatures, daily surface air temperatures are still at record highs. We are right up there, where we ended the last year with. And let's get into that from climate and economy. February on course to break unprecedented number of heat records. Halfway through into the shortest month of the year, heat spike has become so pronounced that the crisis is entering new territory, especially for sea surface temperatures, where expert observers are struggling to explain how the change is happening. Maybe it has to do with something with all that methane and CO2 in the atmosphere being released at copious amounts. Hello, media, politicians, celebrities, Oprah, Doom Wizard. The latest global temperature, as just posted by Copernicus, was 2 degrees above the 1850. Ocean temperatures shattering records, stunning scientists. 348 record days. The North Atlantic Ocean reached the same temp anomaly as when this graph started and went viral around the end of last year. Long expected, mostly ignored. This can help reduce the largest climate uncertainty, the extent of aerosol masking, which will continue as we decrease industrial output, while the hot Atlantic has a hurricane forecasters very worried, as they should be. Florida's vulnerable reef system ravaged by last summer's record warm ocean temperatures. Martinique, another highs, another lows. Water, mainly highs. Water crisis in St. Lucia. I've been there. It's a beautiful island state that just gained its sovereignty, independence from Britain in the past 2 decades. And it's been raining. Because of all the rain, the rivers have excess silt, which is excess sand. And so because of the excess sand, Wasco is unable to pump the water with the same amount of pressure they normally would. More heat and records broken in Panama, South America. I mean, it's up to 100 degrees, over 102. More crazy warmth in Europe. Running out of water in Spain's Costa del Sol next week. Tunisia cuts off water supply. Again, all the southern hemisphere is being just battered right now, which we're going to see here in our summer. Coming up shortly, you can expect wet bulb temperatures to be breached, and also alarming potential for the H5N1 pandemic. And do temperature means our climate goals and net zero are dead? An article from Forbes. I don't want to read this, from David Carlin, but quote, doomsayers are even claiming that it is too late to stop climate change. Fortunately, science and economics show that these narratives are completely wrong. However, they are dangerous due to the backsliding and inaction they promote. Yeah, how about that sports game, with like millions of people watching and, Toyota's new commercial? Okay. Great Lakes ice coverage drops by 6%. Again, to reiterate, thank you guys for being here with me. Scientists say global heating is driving ice loss in warm water as ice cover falls short of a 50-year average of 18%. This is no good. There's a trend of 5% decline in ice coverage per decade, which may not sound huge, but it is a substantial decrease. In many regions, no ice at all, including bays of Lake Michigan and Superior, are most likely to permanently lose ice cover as soon as the 2060s. Also, jumping ahead, collapse looming for Louisiana's coastal wetlands could be gone by 2070. Okay, commercial break. Let's go to outer space and underwater. New underwater remarkable sentinel habitat for the billionaires to go hang out in luxurious, cabins by themselves, full cooking, amenities, because nothing can go wrong. Work quarters, showers, all that, underground kitchens, hopefully done by 2026 when we potentially have our first BOE. Good times, and we can go to space at the same time with the new Star Wars looking spaceship. His name is Tenacity, and it's almost ready to fly. It looks like something out of Star Wars. Okay. Luckily, we have a Trump-loving Pole wants to execute climate protesters. You are all aware of that 35-year-old who threw pink powder on the Constitution this past week. Well, he thinks that they should just be hung and display their lifeless bodies as a warning to others, declared on X. I mean, this is the state of politics. Lately, it quote, I don't think any sane, self-respecting country would assign the death penalty to a crime like that. If the glass structure which holds the Constitution is so strong that it did not damage the Constitution, I don't think those guys would have known that. They would have been able to predict that. Yet he calls for the execution of them. Had a Freudian slip there, causing problems, all these people of the country. MAGA, yeah, okay. All right. Luckily, satellites unveil the size and nature of world's coral reefs. We're mapping this stuff out, or at least we're trying to. Providing high-resolution, up-to-date mapping satellite technology, I am certain Mr. Beckwith will go through this in detail. Meanwhile, renewables won't fly in some fossil counties. Resources for future examine the potential tax revenue effects of solar and wind energy projects in certain areas. I think I already covered this in a previous video, and now I just remember I did, that replacing fossil fuel revenue with onshore wind would be unfeasible in oil and gas producing counties, even before considering a substantial amount of land that would be needed to do so. That's the highlight from like the 4th paragraph on in this article. So what can we say? CO2 spiraling, heat temperatures being broken all over the globe, government officials wanting to execute people for wanting to have a viable future, and yet I see a flag every other day in my drive through town. You call that a flag, it's a banner, and it says Trump 2024, the revenge tour. Moment of silence. That's where we're at in politics. It's revenge now. You know, he was just ordered $350 million fine, can't do business in New York, so he's a defamed fraud, criminal, phony, coward running for president against a guy who can't remember what he just said.
Today, President Biden made an exclusive appearance on the Weather Channel. Biden discussed what his administration is doing to protect Americans from extreme weather events.
We're moving. It is the existential threat to humanity.
So you've already declared that national emergency?
Well, in the practice, you got a bug on you.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. So you've already declared that national emergency?
Practically speaking, yes.
Yeah.
But the revenge tour, how do we come back from that? How do we come back from this? Do you see the logic? Are you paying attention? Thank you, realists. February 17th. Hit like and subscribe, contribute. My mic is still going for now. Barely. I have to tape it up. And thank you. I'll talk to you next week. I have a couple videos planned. I just gotta muster the energy to do it. Thank you again. I'll talk to you later. See ya.